Hello and welcome back to a Method to the Madness Breaking Bad edition. I'm your host Patrick, and joining me as always is Mitchie.
Hello.
And today we are covering Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 3, titled... What's it titled?
I.F.T.
I.F.T. What does that stand for?
I have no idea. We should probably know that.
Oh, I should have pulled it up. Sorry, it's my bad.
Yeah, you're the fucking host, bro.
I.F.T. Yeah, I don't know.
Integrated flight test, intra-family transfer of guns.
I fucked Ted.
Oh.
That's so good.
Holy shit. Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. As that title suggests, this is a pretty big episode for Skyler. We get a lot more screen time with her than we do normally.
Mm-hmm.
But without further ado, let's go into a plot summary. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, alright. Walt moves back into the house and tells Skyler he has no intention of leaving. She won't hear of it, but Walter Jr. is thrilled that his father is back. It doesn't stop her from calling the police, however, in an attempt to have Walt thrown out. The police tell her that they can't have him moved out without a court order. When one policeman asks Skyler about any possible illegal activity Walt has been involved in an attempt to get a legal basis for throwing Walt out, Skyler declines to mention his drug dealing. Later, Skyler meets with her attorney. After she's assured that everything she says is confidential under attorney-client privilege, she admits to her attorney that Walt is a meth distributor. Her attorney advises her to sue him for divorce and let the police know about Walt, but Skyler tearfully declines, saying that she doesn't want Walter Jr. to find out that his father is a criminal.
Okay, so this is like a really long scene. This is like 10 minutes, this altercation.
The police scene?
Yeah. Well,
it is long, isn't it?
Yeah, from when Skyler comes home, and then, I don't know, it's... Oh, and also, again, it didn't mention the cold open with Danny Treasure, and honestly, I just think they wanted an excuse to bring back Danny Treasure.
Yeah.
Because, like, that was kind of an unnecessary scene, but, hey, man, always happy to see Tortuga.
It is a little weird, yeah, it's kind of out of place, isn't it? But I guess it kind of shows you what the twins are like, even more.
Right, yeah.
That they're a bunch of psychopaths. Yeah.
Characterizes that other mob boss dude as well.
Yeah. Who is actually in this episode, so there is actually purpose.
Yeah, there you go. So, man, how manipulative is Walt in this scene? Like,
that's exactly the word I use too.
Yeah.
Manipulative.
Yeah, he's such a bastard, like, putting on this act, and he knows that Skyler won't tell the cops, anything to incriminate him, or at least he's, betting on that fact.
Yeah, but as a viewer, what do you think of Walt? What do you think of this relationship? Who are you rooting for?
Skyler. Well, okay, so recently...
But I feel like most people wouldn't.
Really? You reckon?
Yeah, just because Walt's the protagonist, and you kind of like... I don't know.
Yeah, I see... I think of where you're coming from. Like, maybe when I was younger, I didn't have the toolbox to assess, like, how this manipulation is working. Because so recently I've been reading this book by Helen Lewis called Difficult Women, and it's pretty much just like it's a history of feminist fights, and one of the chapters is about relationships, and she talks about intimate partner violence. So there was like a bunch of laws that were passed in the 70s regarded to, like, men beating their girlfriends and stuff, because that was coercive control was a really hot topic issue that only started getting traction around then, but that related to, like, partners actually hitting their partners, and then I look at this scene, and there's like that cop asks Skyler, is there any history of violence, has he ever hit you, and she's like, no, and it's this really fucking, like, complex and subtle version of intimate partner violence, because at the end of the day, it's not violence, but it's kind of just as bad.
Yeah.
So I've really found this scene interesting, how it's like, yeah, man, like, this is just what a complicated scenario for Skyler to navigate.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, but it's also one of those things, like, I think it's trying to highlight that domestic violence usually is only kind of really, what's the word? Like, police only care about domestic violence if it is physical. But when it becomes mental domestic violence, it becomes very blurry as to exactly if a law is being broken or not. You know, like, you think about it, like, people argue all the time, right? And that's psychological abuse. It could get pretty, like, degrading over time if one person is always arguing with the other, but you wouldn't actually charge them for domestic violence, really. It'd be very difficult to do that. So I see what you mean in saying that, like, what Walt is doing is just as bad, but in terms of the law, not really. In terms of domestic violence, he's not really doing anything wrong.
exactly. And I think that's what makes the scene so compelling is that he is actually not legally doing anything. He's not doing anything illegal.
In the house, in the domestic,
other than the drug empire that he's building.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't you forget that's illegal?
Oh yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Not really. Not about that scene. I just feel sorry for Walt Jr. just being manipulated.
Yeah.
Jesse is still having trouble coming to terms with his girlfriend's death, but has moved back into his house. Saul comes by, asking Jesse to try to convince Walt to get back into drug dealing. Jesse, clearly still in angst from Jane's death, dismissively says he'll handle it. Lionel and Marco Salamanca steal a minivan, bringing Hector Salamanca with them to a meeting with Gus and Juan Bolsa. Gus says that they cannot kill Walter now, as he is doing business with him. Once Gus's business with him is done, however, he will let them kill Walter.
Okay, so yeah, the note I had about them stealing the minivan is that like they strong arm an old lady in like a those little mobility scooter things. Do you remember that? Like, what did they do to that lady? It's so ominous. She's like, hello, and then they like surround her. Did they kill her? They just kill this old lady and take a scooter?
Nah. Oh, no, I don't think they really kill people for no reason unless they're told to by the cartel.
Yeah, probably.
Like, unless there's some real threat to them or something. I don't know. They probably just dumped her on the side of the road and then she died anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a really funny scene to me.
It was, yeah.
They just surround this old lady in a scooter. Like, surely, I don't know. Anyway.
I love how when the scene starts with their meeting, when they meet in that chicken farm, how the fucking tinge is real yellow. Like, yellow as fuck.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Like usually, it's stereotypical of cinema to do that when it's set in Mexico, right? Like, you give everything this yellowish orange tinge or some shit. But then they're not even in Mexico in that scene. They're in America. So it seems funny to me.
Yeah, true. I really, I've talked before about how much I love Gus's, like, acting and the personality he has and how he can switch between them.
Yeah.
This, like, kind of really overly polite and professional guy, this act that he puts on in front of the cartel members. And then, you know, he has that, like, little, like, food platter.
Yeah.
It's just like a real like contrast to these hardened criminals eating just like little bits of celery and shit. Yeah,
it's kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah.
But it also shows how much, like, because Gus is sort of playing them in this scene, but he's also playing them just in general.
Yeah.
So it kind of like foreshadows that, I feel.
Yeah.
And then in regards to Jesse, that was sad when he calls her number and then it gets disconnected and then he can't hear her voice anymore.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, but closure. You got to move on, I suppose, and I think that's what it also means for him. Yeah, which is why I don't think it's in the plot summary, but he actually starts to cook meth in this episode. He goes back out into the boonies and in the camper van thing, and then starts cooking again.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of sad, really. Like, he even though he's sober and doesn't want to do the drugs anymore, he realizes that right now, I guess, his only way of making decent money is through that.
Well, yeah. I mean, and, after he's accepted that he's the bad guy and all that.
Yeah. He looks so regretful when he starts cooking, too. You can just see that he doesn't want to do it. I guess it takes his mind off things.
It's also not in the plot summary when Skyler goes to that lawyer. She tells her about Walt cooking meth.
It is, but...
Oh, it is?
Yeah, in the first paragraph, yeah.
Oh, righto. And then she, the lawyer says to her, let me tell the police what you just told me, and we'll get a restraining order, and it's the 100% the best thing for your family. And then she says, well, I don't want my son to find out. And, Walt has cancer, so this may resolve itself.
Yeah.
So, if she waits long enough, then this may go away without anyone knowing whatever happened. Do you empathize with her in this, in this decision?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very difficult thing to do. You just love this man your whole life and raised a family with him. Even to just dob him into the police would be a very difficult thing to do. You love this person. It's not easy for anyone to do that. Like, imagine if you and I found out our parents were, I don't know, murderers or something. Would you go and tell the police straight away?
Yeah,
Probably
no,
not.
probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you're in those shoes, it's actually very difficult to make that decision, I would think.
Yeah. And plus Hank would get, fucked as well. So,
Exactly, yeah. In
yeah.
terms of the impact on her family, it seems more logical to actually just let Walt die from lung cancer.
Yeah. Next paragraph.
Hank is still stressed and lashes out at a group of men in a bar getting in a fight. He uses his status as a DEA agent to prevent the others at the bar from attacking him. Walt shows the money he's earned to Skyler in an attempt to get her to accept it, as he says it will help with the mortgage and Walter Jr.'s college tuition. He asks Skyler to at least think about it. However, when Skyler gets home from work later, in an attempt to get Walt to distance himself, she says, "I fucked Ted."
I.F.T. So yeah, this whole episode, Walt, as we talked about, he has this power over her that's invisible, right?
Yeah.
Kind of leaves no traces, and it's like, what do you do in that situation? And then I fucking love this ending when she finally gets a bit of power back by hurting him in like the only way that she can, and it's just like it shuts him up. He's acting as if nothing's wrong, just playing that the good husband, and then she finally gets this weapon to use against him, and then the look on his face is just so good.
Yeah. Seriously, he is actually hurt by this. For once.
Yeah.
What I don't get, right, is that why does he asks her if he can use a toilet in like the middle of the night because they're sleeping in separate rooms. So where the fuck does Walt Jr. piss?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's only this one bathroom in the house, and it's their ensuite one in the master bedroom. Like, surely there's a second bathroom for guests. Like,
well, yeah. Yeah. He pees in the sink. Like, I think maybe he just wanted to use that bathroom. I don't know. Like,
unless the two bathrooms are ensuite, so Walter Jr. also has an ensuite bathroom. But that seems so dumb from a guest perspective.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like really creepy too. Like, I think when I don't think it was this episode, or maybe it was when Walter comes home and then he's like taking a shower, and like it's creepy just in these new circumstances of like how he's just like Skyler doesn't want him there, and then he just invades her home and takes a shower in her shower and shit like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unsettling.
But then he's sort of entitled to see his own children too. Like, I understand there's this altercation between those two, but without Walt Jr. and well, obviously Holly, but they don't know what's going on at all, then it kind of makes sense that he should be allowed to see them, kind of thing. And I think it's kind of clever of him to actually move there. It's very conniving and smart thing to do, because he knows that he can't be kicked out because the house is under his name, and he really calls her bluff there.
And he gets like the Walt Jr. on his side too.
Yeah. It is very kind of, when you have the insider knowledge of exactly what's going on, it's absolutely kind of foul what Walt is doing. But from the perspective of Walt and Holly, they're just so confused that it almost seems like the right thing to do for Walt to actually go back there and see his children, just to make them happier.
Mate, Holly has no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, let's keep Holly out of this. Yeah. Even when he's home or not, she probably has no idea what the fuck's going on.
Fucking babies, man. Dumb ones. All right. You got anything else?
Well, why does she sleep with Ted? Like, it seems weird to me because she knows Ted is this pretty big criminal in a way, evading millions of dollars in tax. And she seems to have a very strong opinion about it. Yet she sleeps with him anyway, and it's almost like almost like hypocrisy in a way. Like, you're pissed off with Walt because the main reason because he's a meth cook and he's breaking the law, and you obviously have a very strong ideal of what the law means to her. Like, you never break the law, but then she ends up sleeping with a criminal anyway.
Well,
I know it's easy for her to sleep with Ted. That's probably what was going through her head. Like, he was obviously going to do it anyway, but like, still.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, although it continues on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like, compared to Walter, like, Ted's not so much of a criminal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Both will land you in jail for a long time, though.
It will.
Yeah. Anyway,
thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
I want him out of the house.
Okay, Mrs. White, there's a couple of questions I need to ask you right off the bat. It's very important that you answer them honestly. Did he strike you?
No.
Has he ever hit you?
No, this is not about violence. This is about trespassing. about him being here against my will.
Okay, trespassing. You're divorced then?
No, working on it.
If you like this series, Mitch is going to tell you where you can find more of these.
Yep, so you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. And we've also got a website, amttm.com, where you can find our fabulous episodes on Breaking Bad.
If you have any questions, queries, insights, or criticism, you can send them to mail@amttm.com.
And as always, thank you for listening.